you have to be careful. Like, people will have you out here thinking you're worthless if you really listen to what people have to say. Not that you don't listen to people what they have to say. You listen to everything. But at the end of the day, you've got to be sure who you are from a source that does not change, or else people will have you out here thinking anything about it.
Hey, heard they talking down on Casa cause they know I'm nuts. Bring her to the crib, she on the bed, I gotta stretch. I don't like to text in person, I'd be hard to catch. I've been popping since a youngin', I don't need the flex.
Bro, I would say that's been the easiest part of my life. Like when people ask me who is DeMonte or who is Tay, I always go back to my core values and the things that's never going to change about me. Like, there's certain things that come with me that are uncompromising. I'm going to be curious for the rest of my life. I'm going to be a giver, first and foremost. That's just something that I've been raised upon. Just like you, a child of God. A good friend, a good brother, a family man. Like, those are things that's never going to change. And I lean into those things very hard, and I'm consistent with them. And I feel like no matter how much success I get, if I just stay grounded and keep those things at the top of mind, you know, I'll be okay. And I actually, you know, I went to therapy, bro, after I left Penn, because that was just like a challenging time period in my life. I went every 2 weeks for like a year straight. And one of the topics that I covered with my therapist was this concept of radical self-acceptance. Because we did this chart where we talked about all the people in my life. And we noticed that the people that I spent the most time with, I wasn't necessarily the closest or felt the most comfortable around those individuals. He asked me why. And I had to think about it. I told him the truth. I'm like, certain people I was hanging around, they helped me get through college. They helped me navigate these systems. But it's certain people in my life where I can come to them like, yo, bro, I did the dumbest thing ever. And they're not going to be fake about it. They're going to be like, bro, I did that before too. And we laugh about it. It's like they're able to meet me at just like a baseline level. And there's only so many people that I could do that with. Like, people always be like, a lot of people think I know a bunch of people, bro. I do, but, like, I'm not really as close to these people as y'all might think. I feel the same way, bro. Like, I just know them. I feel the same way. When it comes to, like, genuine friends or people that you feel like understand you or you can call in a crisis, it's not that many people.
A lot of people don't have relationships like that.
They don't, bro.
These days.
You know what really baffles me, bro? Like, when people take the pictures next to, like, a BMW or, like, a Benz or something, and I be like, that's not your car.
Man, this social media topic, we could do a whole 3-hour podcast on that alone. But it's had so many effects that I don't even think we'll see the fullest effects until, like, our generation completely grows up.
And we can look back on this, bro.
And it'll be like, oh, this messed us up.
For sure.
But yeah, man, it just makes us hyper aware. Like, social media is great because what you said, I think you talked a little bit earlier about how social media is cool and it allows us to be connected and be inspired by so many different people. It has so much good potential, but it gets used for so much bad potential of just like being so self-conscious, caring so much about our perception in the wrong ways.
It's crazy.
And I'm speaking for myself. Like, no, I get on Instagram and I gotta be conscious of like, why am I even caring about like this? Like, let me just post this because I was interested. Right. Why am I even thinking about
I wore this shirt last podcast. I can't wear it again. I gotta wear a different shirt this time.
And that little, I know it seems like insignificant, but that small thing has a lot bigger effects, like financially. Because the same way you think about that is how people think about a car or how they think
Most
about
definitely.
Where they live.
Now I gotta go buy 5 new shirts.
It affects everything. So
just so I can be comfortable with y'all perception of me.
Just because I think that you're gonna say something because you've seen the same shirt on my feed twice. Meanwhile, we do not care. It's like people don't realize that nobody really cares about the things that we think people be caring about. And even if they did,
bro.
So what if they know if I wore the same shirt twice? Like,
it's crazy, man. But you know, we talked about a lot of stuff, bro. And I want to make sure that we really get into, you know, the Meta Moguls project. Yeah. So, you know, to close this conversation out, I want you to talk about what you're doing now in the Web3 space with NFTs. And if you're a listener out there and you don't know what Web3 is, JP will kindly enlighten you. You know, as he opens up about the Meta Moguls project. But what can you tell us about NFTs, crypto, the blockchain, and all of these trendy words?
Yeah, all these words. Yeah, well, I I think Web3 as a whole is really interesting. Just like this next iteration of the internet that's very blockchain focused.
Okay.
I'm very interested in it just because of the idea of ownership. Like, I think there's a lot of things in Web2 realm, you know, whether it's typical companies, whether it's social media, all the YouTubes, Instagrams, whatever it is. I think it's interesting that so many of these platforms have middlemen that are sort of like the gatekeepers.
Yeah.
And they make money off of basically crowdsourcing from creators. You know, like a YouTube is nothing without creators. Spotify is nothing without artists. They give off a small percentage to these artists or these creators just for making a meeting place for them, basically. So I think it's an interesting setup that we've gotten so used to, you know, us coming to the platform and creating so much value. Even if you just come to Instagram to scroll,
right?
You're bringing the value in an advertising economy. You're bringing the monetary value that is worthwhile. Right. You know, if you're not there, Instagram doesn't make money. So I think Web3 is interesting that you kind of can take out the middlemen, that you can make a lot of the interactions just direct between creator and consumer, and that you can have real ownership of a lot of different things. Like in Web3, the reason I'm so interested in crypto and blockchain is that you can actually own a lot of the things that you think you own in the Web2 world, but you really don't. Like,
give me an example, bro.
Like, I mean, your data is a really good example. So like we literally get on Facebook, we get on Instagram. Mind you, like, we live in an attention economy. Web2 is an attention economy. Like, that's how you make money in these realms, is you make money off of people's attention,
right?
And off of the data of how to get more out of their attention. And it's just ironic because a lot of people, you know, we talked about having a mogul mindset before and being like entrepreneurs. And a lot of people are like, I'm not really an entrepreneur, I'm not a mogul because I don't really have a product. I don't have something I can sell. Everybody has something that they can sell.
Yeah. Even
if it's just like, we don't realize we sell our own attention and time.
Wow.
But Facebook makes money off of it. And you don't get, I mean, you're like, we get screwed over even more than artists on Spotify because we give our data for free and they make money and you're never going to see no money from Facebook. Or even if you think about like money in the bank, like that we put our money in the bank and technically we have rights to access that amount of money, but at that moment, is that money really yours?
Right.
You know, that's the bank's money really, because they're going to possess it and they're going to do things with it to make interest, and then they're going to throw you a penny maybe at the end of the year. But, you know, I like a lot of the Web3 platforms because you can really own your money and your value in your own wallet.
Right.
And if you want to make interest off of it, you can go and do what a lot of the banks are doing and make your own interest off of it without, you know, a middleman having to take that money. So I think there's just a lot of different realms like that that open a lot of doors. And then the NFT space is interesting just because it's evolving so much. And I think for Young Moguls brand, it was interesting for us to make this Meta Moguls initiative to just try to engage people on a deeper level. And this has been something that we're really experimenting with for the first time.
Right. And
everything with it hasn't been perfect. We've run into roadblocks, but I think it's been good because we're learning how to do it better.
Right.
So this has been like our first stage of, okay, how can we have people not just buy a hoodie from us and wear it, but how can we, you know, have them buy a NFT, a part of the brand that they own.
Right.
And they have the IP to that. They can print their own shirts if they want to and sell those. That's like their intellectual property that they own. Or how can we use that NFT as like a membership card in terms of giving them a membership to a community, giving them special access, giving them access to like an investing club community where people can be involved. Almost like a social club.
My next point, bro.
Yeah.
I want you to explain because I know it as DAOs, but somebody out there watching may not know what that means. So you can explain that.
So, like you said, DAO stands for Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Most of the time, people call them like a DAO. And basically, it's these clubs that almost have a shared wallet, or what they call like a multi-sig wallet.
Okay. Meaning,
it's a wallet that a lot of people have access to in terms of, it's not just controlled by one person, but technically everybody has access to the multi-sig wallet and can vote on decisions. So it's almost like a club with a shared bank account
Right.
But that's a lot easier because it can just be conducted without all the overhead of the banks and having to use a bank account to transfer money here and there. It can just be done on the blockchain like this. So, these DAOs can be used for a lot of different things. How we're trying to use it is, or how a lot of people are trying to use it is, some of them will have investment clubs. So it'll be like people buy into a DAO and it gives you a stake in the investment club. So, the DAO has a fund in this wallet, and everybody who is a part of the DAO has a vote on the decisions that are made.
All right, this is my question, just for clarification, bro, because I'm learning as I go. If you are a holder of an NFT for a specific project, that is how you buy into the DAO.
For most of them. So most of the DAOs, sometimes, they'll work in different ways. Like, there has to be some sort of token, basically. Okay. So it doesn't necessarily have to be an NFT. It could be like a coin. Okay. So one DAO that I've joined, like, you have to have 20 of their coins to join. So, like, buying in with the coin gives the group, like, the liquidity, or that starts the fund. Right. And with the fund, you can do a lot of different things that we can all vote on. We can decide to... this one I'm talking about is actually sports related. So that fund can be used to rent out a gym to have a pickup game.
And I saw that, the one in Miami.
That one is really interesting. It's called Miami Tech Runs, and it's sort of like a social club with people interested in tech and sports.
So going backwards, bro, I want to ask you this, because I realized that we didn't even explain what an NFT was.
Yeah.
I tried to
we definitely got to backtrack.
Yeah, so what is an NFT for the everyday viewer?
Good question. So NFT stands for non-fungible token. Right. And so at the core of that is the word fungible. And basically, fungibility is just almost can be thought of as the ability to exchange something, or the quality of something that can be exchanged easily for something just like it. So like if you and I had a US dollar, there's no difference between your US dollar and my US dollar. Right. They're both the same. If we swap them out, there's no difference. They're worth the same amount. So they're fungible. Whereas these non-fungible tokens are inherently unique. So there's supposed to be not one that's just the same as the other. Right. Which gives it sort of like a collectible value. Okay. So you sort of think about these as non-fungible as the same way as you would think about like high-class art or trading cards or like a signed basketball that, you can't just directly exchange that for something else. It's something that's unique, and that's what gives it value. Right. So that's why, these tokens are so popular with art, because that's sort of how people can relate to it the most. So that's the non-fungible part. And then you have the token part, which basically is just, the token meaning that this is a token that's coded on the blockchain with a smart contract. So the real beauty, in my opinion, behind NFTs is the smart contract, which is coded and at the heart of the NFT to make automated decisions. Okay. So basically, there's a lot of different automated decisions, but like for instance, when you got the Meta Moguls NFT, it automatically, sends it to your wallet without me having to send it to your wallet or having to do anything. When someone buys it from you, it automatically sends royalties to the creator, to the artist, automatically without without me having to be the middleman to send it, without OpenSea or any other platform having to send it. It's just instant. It's instant. So that's really the technology that's interesting behind it. So a lot of people have been started off with the art wave with NFTs, with like having art as like, okay, the NFT is, basically what you're doing with NFT art or any asset really is you're having it on the blockchain. The blockchain is this ledger of transactions that's can't be erased, is there forever, and you can trace, where things have happened. Okay. You can trace when it was created, who it was sold to, who owned it next. So basically, the value of NFTs with these digital assets is that it's basically proof of ownership. Right. That's the real value. A lot of people will say like, oh, I can click and save this, I can do this and that. That's besides the point. The point is that now you can have a succinct, unerasable way to prove a trail of ownership. Right. So even if someone, gets a Bored Ape and downloads the picture and uploads it as their profile picture,
which I've seen people do. I got followers.
Yeah, people do it, and people think like, okay, I can do that. The real value is you can do that all day, but you probably can't sell it for $500,000
Right.
because the person is going to go to the blockchain and see that that's not your wallet, that you don't own it. So basically, this gives sort of like the ability to prove ownership and own digital assets, whereas before you couldn't do it because it's just a JPEG. There's no ledger to prove that. So I think that's where we're trying to get interested to see, okay, where can we really take this? We're starting off with art. We're starting off with a community, but where can we take this in the future? Like, will it be in the world of real estate? Will it be in music?
Bro, something I want to bring to your attention is, one of my friends actually said this to me. I'm a huge Nipsey fan.
Yeah.
I've been a Nipsey fan for forever. My friend was like, Nipsey created NFTs. And I was like, why you say that? But if you follow his journey, bro, like, he has this first smart store in America, in the US, with the Marathon stores. So if you go into the store, I don't know what the real title of it is, but I'm gonna try to explain it to the best of my abilities. Like, you know how you got the tag of your clothes,
right?
And it has, you know, the size, the washing information. Basically, when you go in Nipsey store, you could use an app on your phone to scan the tag of the clothes, and you would get free access to exclusive music, exclusive drops, and things of that nature.
He was ahead of the wave.
And that store opened in 2013. Wow. So, when my friend said that, I didn't think about it like that, but I feel like NFTs didn't really have a name at that time. But
yeah, and the name will evolve too.
It will.
And he was way ahead of the curve even in crypto and NFTs, because I've watched old interviews with Nipsey where he was talking about crypto and talking about
years back, way back. And it went over my head because it wasn't a thing that was like that everybody knew. It was very taboo at that time period. So
we're still early. We're still early in terms of like a lot of this. Even with our project, we're still fleshing out how that's going to look. Like, how will future phases of the project look? What will people get out of it? Like, what's the value that they'll get from having the NFT? But I think we're already ahead of the curve by playing around with the technology and building the people early, so that when this does get really mainstream, we're already like years ahead. And I think all of us are early in this space because it's still very early. Like,
it's super early, bro. I feel like we're in the midst of a digital transformation.
Yeah, you know that because we're still, it's still very art centric, and there's a lot of value with art. But this is going to be much bigger than art. Like, it's going to be utilized by a lot of different realms of industry and be valuable in a lot of different ways that people haven't really tapped into yet.
Most definitely. And I want to go back to the DAOs real quick.
Yeah.
I think they're pretty cool because what we're witnessing is kind of like a democracy in the finance space. So even if you're not a high net worth individual, going back to the clubs that you mentioned, you can get exposure to that world by just being a holder of, a Meta Mogul NFT. And I think that reaps a lot of benefits. So I think before we close out, bro, what even gave you the confidence to launch a project of this magnitude? Because in reality, you leading us into the metaverse, bro.
I mean, I think the biggest thing for me was like, this was just my best way to keep learning about the space. Like, I think a lot of people want to learn about the space by like reading articles and stuff. I think the best way to learn in this space is just to try to build something.
For sure.
It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to go without like any hiccups, but you can build and evolve it along the way. And by doing that, you can bring in a community of other people to learn a lot along the way, like about the NFT side, about the technical side, but also on the investing side. That's why I think the DAOs would be very interesting, is it just gives people a lot more exposure to the process of like seeing how capital is raised, or just being around those conversations with socially. So that's what I'm interested in seeing, is like, okay, what are these applications that are going to make that process more seamless?
Yeah.
Like,
bro, this is really a next level conversation. Like, I know people where I'm from, they gonna watch this video like, what is they talking about right now?
But it's
a good thing.
That's
bro.
how you know you're early, but that's also important because there's going to be a lot more platforms that need to cater to that. Like, that need to make it a lot more simpler. Like, it shouldn't be that I need to be a senior developer to even know how to start a DAO or be involved.
Right.
So it's going to come. There's like a lot more platforms, like one called Syndicate. There's one I'm following now called DAO. That's just, building these platforms so where you can make a DAO in a few seconds.
Wow.
And it can be social. Like, everything can be done on one platform. You can do voting on one platform. You can do the distributions financially on one platform. But it's just going to take some time.
Bro, I'm gonna have to bring you back in the future for a part 2 because
we need
so
like,
many questions.
We need like 3 or 4 parts.
Sure.
We need a few parts.
And I want to say that I actually purchased crypto for the first time because of you.
I didn't know that.
Buying into the Meta Moguls project.
So that was like your first time getting into Ethereum and...
Yeah, that was my very first time. Like I had learned about it before, but I had no reason to like actually purchase it. Like I was scared before. But as I learned about NFTs and I educated myself, I bought crypto for the first time because
I didn't know that, bro.
You know, a little education for y'all. The Meta Moguls project exists on the Ethereum blockchain, right? Yeah. So I had to purchase some Ethereum to get it. And I did it, bro, because I believe in you as a person and your proven track record of success, bro. I think a lot of people believe in you, man. So that's why I won a contest. I got 2 NFTs for the project. I bought one. I got the other one for free because I won the invite contest. But like I champion people, bro. Like, good people that I believe in, and I felt like you were one of them. Like I look at you, and I'm sure a lot of people do. They look at you in the vein of a Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, that's Elon Musk. Like
that's big.
It is, bro.
That's big shoes to fill, bro.
When you think about their story, like Mark Zuckerberg, founded Facebook right in his dorm. Yeah, it's like you're doing the same thing right now. You might not realize it, but you're in the midst of doing something great. And I think everybody outside, like, we can see that, bro.
I appreciate that. Obviously, we got a lot more steps to go. Like we still got a lot of ways to like hone it and just get better at scaling it.
For sure.
But I think that's the fun part. Like the process is just learning about all these new technologies, like learning about Ethereum, seeing the value from the developer side, and conversations like this could age very well. We'll see where Ethereum is, where crypto is in the future, but I think just the fact that we have these spaces to talk about it
for sure
early is pretty cool to me.
Bro, I feel like we're gonna be looking back on this conversation 10 years ago, and people gonna be just now
like we're looking at how Nipsey was.
Yeah,
Nipsey's conversations or interviews on this age very well.
They did, bro, and I feel like a lot of people are visiting them now to get information. But I really do appreciate you, bro, because I informed myself because it's like you made it more accessible to us.
Thank you.
And I think that's the importance of diversifying the faces and within finance and. Having people, like you said, like those mentors, the leaders, I feel like we all vessels in a different way to help translate this information that's been hidden from us for so long. So to close out, bro, do you have any other stories or final remarks? You might want to shout out the artist behind the Meta Moguls project.
Yeah. So the artist name, as you know, is Braden Boyd. And it's just cool how this project came together because obviously me and Brandon we're passionate about like the business side, like trying to start the community, the technology, and we're a little bit art savvy, but we weren't savvy enough to like do the art ourselves. Like we had a vision for what we wanted, and we could express that to an artist, but we needed someone to actually bring it to life. So we connected with Braden on Instagram.
For sure.
And Braden is a comic book artist. He's young himself. He's a college student at the University of Oklahoma, I believe, and he's an entrepreneur. Like he makes his own comic books and sells them.
I saw his page. He's fired.
He's fired. He's wild. He's doing a good job. Making a killing doing that. So we came to him with the vision of just how, we wanted to expose him to the NFT space too. We thought it could be valuable for him as a college student looking to, expand his brand, find new ways of.
That's an incredible opportunity for him, bro.
and I mean, I have to give a lot of credit to Braden because at the time. We didn't have a lot to show for it. Obviously, we had like a brand, but he on the front end volunteered time and attention and energy to like learn about it and to dive into it and take a risk with it. And hopefully, it's been something that's valuable for him. But we also met with many other artists who weren't as open as him, who didn't want to spend the time, who didn't see the vision, but he did. And I think that says a lot to just. His own creativity, his own willingness to find new ideas. So
shout out to Braden.
And
I ain't get no shape, man. But I got a pretty rare one. So
the shape man one. But honestly, I think conversations like this would be really cool to look back at. Not just because I think we're early on the technology, but I think we're early on Braden too. Like like he's probably 20 years old or younger. Just starting his career, already doing things like this. And I think it would be really cool to see, like, man, we got to work with Braden on his first NFT project mad early, and look what he's going to now.
And I think that's the power of what Nipsey was doing, bro. Because if you look at the different people that are attached to his story, it's somebody named Idris Sandu.
Yeah.
And this guy is like, he's done code for like Uber. Like, I don't want to.
He's worked with Jay-Z before too.
Yeah, but it started out with Nip that was at Starbucks and saw him like doing something on his computer. And they ended up working together. And I think he helped Nipsey with the concept for the Smart Store.
Yeah.
So he was heavily involved in that. So it's crazy. But people like Braden, like the creatives, the artists, like it's so important, man. Yeah. I love like this new, I don't know if they call it like a gig economy.
Yeah, the gig economy, but the creator economy.
It's fire, man. I love where things are headed.
Yeah, I'm excited too. I think we're just starting. Like, I think it's gonna get really interesting with music and just bloggers, podcasters, like giving these new platforms where people can own everything that they're doing and do it on their terms and get paid better for it.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where that goes.
Oh my God, this was great.
This was a good one. We at least need a second part.
Yeah, we do. But I'm going to ask you one last question, bro. I ask every guest this to close the show. How do you personally define failure?
That's a tough one. I mean, in my opinion, I feel like failure is when you don't take the time to learn from something that didn't go right. Like, I think, in my opinion, obviously there's stuff that's, anytime I don't maybe achieve a goal that I set out specifically to do, it's easy to see it as a failure, which by other people's terms is fair. That might be a failure, but in my opinion, it's only a failure if I didn't come out of it better. Like, a failure would be if I didn't look at what went wrong, if I didn't learn, and if I didn't do it better next time. So, yeah, as long as in my opinion, if I don't give up, if I learn from it and I grow from it and analyze it a little bit, I don't think it's a failure. I think it's something that can be really valuable.
For sure. And this was an amazing episode, y'all. Thank you, JB, for all of the gems, for sharing your story. I feel like people are going to get to know you in a different way than what they already do. So I thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing so much of yourself today. And make sure y'all like this video, comment, subscribe, follow JP on all his social media if you want to shout that out.
Yeah, so on Twitter it's jwill23 and on Instagram it's jpwill23. And if you want to check out the book, on the website it's jordanwill.com.
And how can they learn more about the Meta Moguls project? Yeah,
so the Meta Moguls project, you can go to metamoguls.art. And that's sort of our landing page. It'll lead you to the Discord, which is probably the best place to go to, even better than the website. Just to get more information, to meet people, and to learn about the project. And you can follow us on Twitter too. I think our handle is Meta Moguls NFT, and on Instagram is @TheMetaMoguls.
All right.
So that's where to find us. Yes, sir.
They probably need a dress. I never get a dress cause niggas only like to talk. Never walk the walk, I'm by myself, don't need a call. Plus I got a piece of metal, load him up, he going off. Never know who real, it be the real who getting crossed by these niggas when they fake, but they gon' say they real. I be rapping just to rap, I used to wanna do.